Hello everyone, this is the Prophet Michael David, aka Aries, and today we're going to go over my claim as the Chinese end times prophet. One problem, the Chinese don't really have an end times prophet, but they do have an OG prophet, and that man is called Wang Di, and that he is the thumbnail of this video. He is also known as the Yellow Emperor. Okay, so that's the wiki to the Yellow Emperor, and he lived around 2600 BCE, 2600 years before Jesus, and he is a renowned figure in Chinese culture and mythology. He it's very tongue-in-cheek, but they say that he is the father of all Chinese culture, but that's very tongue-in-cheek because when they say that, they mean that he is the foundation of all humanity's culture, that it all came from teachings that he brought to the people. In other words, from a Chinese perspective, in the Greek pantheon, if Apollo and Artemis are given credit for inventing the bow and arrow, to the true Chinese, that's only because they visited China and they met with the Yellow Emperor and he showed them how to do it. All right, that screenshot of his YouTube video on YouTube that is about the Yellow Emperor that the history ancient alien astronaut guys did. It's very good. It's my favorite, but there's a whole bunch of other YouTube videos on the Yellow Emperor himself that you can watch if you wish. That's just my favorite. So now you're asking yourselves, so how can a white guy from America claim himself to be Emperor of China? Well, firstly, the Chinese don't really care about what people look like as much as you think. They are much more interested in how people behave, their deeds. But number two, you got to need to know some stuff about Chinese culture. So basically, 1,000 years after the Yellow Emperor, China was still 200 different provinces about that were warring with each other. They called them the warring states. And over the course of 3 dynasties that started, about 1600 BCE, that dynasty was called the Shang dynasty, and they actually claimed to be descendants of the Yellow Emperor. And that lasted for hundreds of years until it was finally overthrown by the Chao dynasty, which also lasted for a few hundred years until it was finally overthrown by the Qin dynasty, which finally united those 200 whatever provinces, states into one singular country, which is why current China is called China, the land of Qin, our land. So after China was united, it was ruled by emperors who had supreme divine authority, true monarchs in every sense of the word. And so now I'm gonna read some passages from the Art of War. The lighting's gonna be a little bit different because I gotta read just about how the Chinese valued their emperors as being basically mandated by God until their mandate was over. So here we go. I know, bright lights hurt eyes, but I can't read the book without the overhead, so I will try to be quick here. All right, this is from The Art of War. This is actually introduction, but this is what it says. Foremost among them for a supremely disciplined military advisor like Sun Tzu would have been 2 commands, both which is required methodical and deliberate decisions. First is the mandate for the strong and the knowledgeable to help the weak, evening out the playing field carried the charge of religious duty for these advisors. Along with that comes the question of virtue, the mandate of heaven, in quotes. That meant Sun Tzu would have assessed the intrinsic virtue of the weaker and the stronger powers, adhering to the rule of Tian Ming, which is synonymous with the mandate of heaven. That's what Tian Ming means. As described in the classical Chinese text, the Book of Documents. As Burton Watson explains, would-be conquerors, by their just and virtuous actions, receive from heaven a vague, half-personalized spiritual power which rules the universe, a command to set up a new rule, so long as the successive leaders of the new dynasty continue to follow the virtuous course which first entitled their predecessors to the mandate. Heaven will continue to sanction their power, but if they do not maintain their virtue, all bets are off. If they sink into negligence and evil, heaven will bestow its sanction upon another group of leaders. In other words, it is virtue alone that entitles a ruler to rule, and when he sets aside virtue, he sets aside the right to call himself a sovereign. The throne is conferred only for so long as the dynasty proves worthy of it. All right, only one more quick passage here with bright lights. And this is actually from Sun Tzu, although it's forwarding and everything afterwards, but it's from Land Plans, Chapter 9. And Chapter 9 states, the commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. And then the commentary on this is, the 5 cardinal virtues of the Chinese are humanity or benevolence, uprightness of mind, self-respect and self-control or proper feeling, wisdom, and sincerity or good faith. And then it says here, wisdom and sincerity are put before humanity, and the 2 military virtues of courage and strictness are substituted for uprightness and self-respect. But to the Chinese, again, they are much more based on deeds and the character of people than what they actually say. All right, now we're back to the soft light, and I'm beautiful again. So, before I sign off, we're going to do some cool Chinese zodiac stuff here. So, here we go. Okay, so those are the 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac. Chinese zodiac 101, although many of you know this because you've been to a Chinese restaurant before, but unlike the Western zodiac, the Chinese zodiac isn't based off of months, it's based off of years. Every year has its own animal. There are 12 years, and there are 5 Chinese elements. And those elements are fire, water, earth, wood, and metal. I know it seems kind of weird, but at least it doesn't have air because air isn't really an element. But 5 times 12 is 60, so there are 60 different combinations of those 12 animals and 5 elements. Okay, so I'm not going to go over everything like the trines or even the yin and yang stuff, but we're going to go over the animals and the elements. And let me just say, so each year, or each animal, each house has its natural element, and then each year also has an element. You're like, all right, finally. So what am I? Okay, if you look it up on Wiki and everything, my Taurus birthday is May 11th, 1978, which means that I am a horse and that I was born in an earth year. But the natural element of horse in the Chinese zodiac is fire. So, yeah, 1978, horse made of earth and fire. But my Aries Chinese zodiac is even better. So I was born on, reborn born again as Aries on April 5th, 2021, which, if you look it up, was an ox year. And an ox can be a male or female cow. And the elemental element that year was metal. And the natural element of ox is earth. So the year of 2021, I was reborn as a metal earth ox. All right, we're getting to them, which brings me to the crux of my point. So all of the Chinese elements, the five, also have colors and everything. But the yellow emperor was yellow because he's also known as the emperor of earth. To the Chinese, that's the color of earth. Think in the United States, the amber waves of grain. What they're talking about earth, they're talking about wheat. You know, the golden color of wheat. And that's what the yellow emperor emphasized. That's the color of earth in Chinese. Sometimes it's green in greener areas, rocky areas. They may think of earth as more blue or whatever. But to the Chinese, earth is the color yellow. And so, while I'm wearing, this is actually my dad's sweater and it has its whole own story, but today isn't about my dad, it's about the yellow emperor. That's why I'm wearing my yellow emperor sweater. But I'm not the yellow emperor, nor am the red emperor, because I thought of that because of the Aries thing for a long time. But the Chinese zodiac, my element is metal. So I'm not the yellow emperor or the red emperor. I'm the metal emperor. So why is this so significant? Well, you know, out of all 60 combinations, the metal ox is going to be the most divine one. You could argue maybe the metal tiger or the metal dragon, but you can't milk a tiger or a dragon, or I would not recommend it. The cow, the ox, is revered in Chinese culture for the same reason that's revered in most all cultures. They're a source of meat, dairy. They're a sign of civilization itself. They're one of the greatest, if not the greatest, beast of burden of all time. And the metal, well, you might think that the metal means like ferrous, like war, and it can in certain instances in Chinese culture. But what metal mostly means in Chinese culture is gold and silver, like the metals that an emperor or king has a whole lot of. And so the metal ox wouldn't be like the ox made of iron or steel. It would be the ox made out of gold and silver. All right. That was a pretty good one. Not a whole lot of edits or retakes, considering. I hope you guys enjoyed the sweater. Like I said, it was my father's, but I'll tell you guys the whole story someday. But for now, signing off. As always, rule number one, do not touch other people without their consent, aka do not hurt each other. And rule number two, it's all about honesty. Lies are ticked down, aka try not to lie. All right, I'll talk to you all later.